stars from the era. Dwayne Hickman, who played Dobie Gillis, appears. George Savalas plays Kaz, the cab driver. George Savalas is, of course, the brother of Telly Savalas and played Stavros on Kojak.
Right.
Michael Richardson is in this. James Murtaugh. Really impressive cast. And also, one of the guys is from a bunch of episodes of Star Trek. The morgue attendant.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, he's from the classic episode of Star Trek, Wolf in the Fold. He's actually turns out to be the person that is possessed with the spirit of Jack the Ripper.
Nice. And just to give you all an idea, James Murtaugh, when you click on his IMDb page, at least on the mobile app, the first movie they decide to plug of his is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, not The Howling, not Vanilla Sky, not,
The Howling is second, but before The Howling is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Amazing. That's absolutely hilarious. And what a career James Murtaugh has, huh? I'm looking at his IMDb, man. He's done a ton of stuff.
Yes.
Oh, he was also in the legendary helicopter film Blue Thunder, which is not particularly a good movie. So, all right, so let's recap this episode and get into it. This episode was genuinely a lot of fun, and it has almost all of the earmarks of what I love about Kolchak and, 70s television, good 70s television, all together, the stuff that I genuinely really like. And hold on one second. I'm trying to get. There we go. All right. I wanted to pull up the summarization of the show. So it would seem that young people around the city of Chicago are dropping dead for some reason, and they're dying by being prematurely aged. And as it turns out, it would seem that guest star Kathy Lee Crosby, and I think it's hilarious that when the episode starts off, they have her in, a little bit of age makeup that gives her bags under her eyes, as if Kathy Lee Crosby isn't just positively Olympian, which is she's supposed to be Helen of Troy in this, who has made a pact with Hecate, the Greek goddess of the moon, and she's sacrificing these people to drain their youth so that she can remain young.
Yeah, and the under the eye makeup is really jarring when you look at it right now. I mean, obviously we have better definition viewing screens than was anticipated at the time, but yeah, it's there's a few scenes where she just walks out by herself in just a park, and they zoom in and she has the bags, and then you see someone get old and then they zoom back and the bags are gone. That's the bit. She's just hanging out in parks doing this to joggers and the like. Yeah, just
kind of like standing there and just raising her arms up in these silk robes. But I mean, it's the 70s, so I guess nobody's really going to notice.
I would be shocked if no one noticed Kathy there in a toga, just hanging out in a park. It's like even if you didn't know who she was, you'd have been like, "Hey, who's that?"
And the hilarious thing, also, I got to ask, is did you guys notice that the tracksuit the first guy is wearing is remarkably similar to Steve Austin's in The $6 Million Man?
I did notice that.
I did not.
I couldn't tell if it was like intentional or not, but yes, it looks very, very similar.
Right around the same time. So, these shows both came out. So maybe, who knows, the wardrobe department. Because I think Kolchak, I think exteriors were shot in Chicago and the interiors were actually shot in LA, I think. I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense.
And I also love, Kolchak's in the office and talking with his coworkers, and there is just ageism left and right being thrown around that office. I mean, even to the point that the older woman who writes the advice column, she gives a good harump at one point. And of course,
yeah, it's
and of course, when he's asking his editor, Tony, what he's taking, and Tony at one point says vitamin E, and Kolchak's like, "What's vitamin E for?" And Tony makes the gesture of, his arm strength, which is obviously saying it's supposed to be good for men's virility.
Yeah, and this is after Tony scolded everyone for not realizing he lost 5 pounds recently.
Yes. Well, Tony's a bit of a drama queen, I think, sometimes in the show.
And it's not enough to just say it. He starts ranting about what he's been doing, and he's like, "And I've been skipping breakfast," and it's like this whole thing.
Oh, it's great. And I love Simon Oakland. He is just such a wonderful character actor. So, all right. So then Kolchak ends up going to talk to a woman that runs a dating service, and the character's name is Bella Sarkoff, and the actress who plays her is another legend that's been around forever.
I loved her. I loved the way she looked. I loved her hair.
Yeah, she's just absolutely hilarious.
Kathleen Freeman.
Kathleen Freeman, thank you.
Yeah, she's in some greats like Joe Dirt, Naked Gun 3, or 33 and a third, rather.
Yes.
But she's also in good movies, but there's no fun in talking about those. So
no, certainly not.
She's in Ready to Rumble.
Oh God, wow, not a good film. I love that she's in the film Hercules, listed as heavyset woman.
But to go back to the comic connections, she was in the Malibu Comics live action show Nightman.
Oh, wow. That was not a good show.
No, but there was a lot of saxophone in that opening intro.
Oh, God, there was. And speaking of not good shows, she was also on After MASH.
Ooh.
But she was in Inner Space. So, I'll let her slide on that.
Yeah, sure. And she was in Clueless.
She's in Clueless. It's a fucking great movie. And support your local gunfighter, I'm saying. That's another fun flick.
Yeah.
So she goes in, Kolchak goes in to talk to her about, first off, he's getting pressure from Tony to write an article about swinging singles. And so he's also trying to, investigate these deaths, but he thinks that the jogger was like 90 years old. The guy doesn't have any ID on him. And so, but he's, ends up going to Bella's, offices, and she's talking to him. And this is something that Joe and I were discussing earlier on in the week. Right off the bat, she implies that Kolchak is in the closet. when she says, "Is there something that you're not telling me?" Or something along those lines. And, she says, "Oh, well, we have to get you married." And Kolchak's response is, "Me married?" Yeah, as if, I'm a confirmed bachelor, like Montgomery Clift. Now, it's never implicitly said in the show, and it was the 70s, obviously, but I cannot remember a single episode where Kolchak flirts with a woman, or goes on a date with a woman, or even responds to them when he's pressing them for information and they're flirting with him. He's oblivious to it. So I don't know. Is Kolchak queer? Is it possible he's asexual?
I was getting more asexual vibes. Like he's just not at all interested. Like it's just not even like on his radar. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so it's hilarious because he's certainly not woke by any means. But anytime somebody mentions hooking him up with a woman, he just bolts.
Yeah,
I actually characters like that, like in any kind of show that I'm watching or movie or whatever, like the super like humble, not really paying attention to the very obvious flirting or comments or whatever it is. I always get a huge kick out of that.
Yeah. And it's hilariously funny because it seems like it's one of the few times Kolchak ever gets flustered, unless he's actually like face to face with a monster. Sure. And then, and then it's hilarious because it doesn't really happen this episode. But it's always like he's always trying to pull out his tape recorder and it starts going off and squeaking, or he pulls out his camera and the flash accidentally goes off, and alerts the monster of his presence. That doesn't really happen in this episode. But it's funny that, Kolchak, there are a couple episodes where his bumbling ends up saving him, though. There's an episode where he's rewinding. It's where his camera is, the battery is recharging, and the monster is frightened off by the sound of that. All right, and how great is this interaction between Irvin and his mother? The old Jewish mom is absolutely hilarious. It's one of the funniest scenes.
Yeah, no, but that was good. And what really gets me is, we're almost there, but that whole bit at the morgue is just
that's my
amazing.
favorite.
Yes.
Oh, with the television?
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for that. Was my favorite in the whole episode. I got such a kick out of that whole thing. I can't afford color TV. All right, you. Like, that was the best.
Yeah. All right. Color black and white. Okay. Black and white. 18-inch? Like.
Yeah, and that actor's name, by the way, is John Fiedler. And he was, another character actor that's just been in a ton of stuff. He's in 12 Angry Men. He was in the original Odd Couple. He's in True Dirt. True Dirt. So, no, Joe, we were saying Kathleen Freeman was in Joe Dirt, so maybe that's
yes.
That's on my mind. And he was the voice of Piglet.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Come on, freaking television legend.
But this whole bit, part of what makes it great is it goes back to the to all that ageism that we were talking about before, like from earlier, where he just like nonchalantly, as they're looking at the body of the jogger, he's just like, oh, no one comes and identifies like old people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, really, nobody.
We don't do a full workup when they're really old.
It's one of those things where it's like there are plenty of stories of elderly people in nursing homes who like have Alzheimer's or dementia who wander off